Have you ever been absolutely crushing your results? I'm talking about you're dominating. Every time you step on a scale, the scale's going down. Every time you look in the mirror, you can see the definition starting to come in, and then all of a sudden, it stops. All of a sudden, you're not getting the results that you got before, and you say, man, what happened? Like, I'm stuck. I hit a plateau. Well, in this video, I'm here not to only get you past being stuck, I'm also going to tell you that there's no such thing as a plateau. There's no such thing as being stuck. As a matter of fact, there's only 5 things that it could be, and a plateau is not one of them. The first thing, you're not doing. It comes down to this. You're just not doing what it takes. So mentally, physically, and emotionally, that could be all 3 of those, or it could be maybe just one. So mentally, you're just not showing up, right? You're not getting up in the morning. You're not getting your mindset. You're not showing up to your workouts. You're not mentally checked in, or maybe it's a physical thing and you're not even doing your workouts, right? You're not doing the work that you told yourself that you were going to do, or you're not eating like you're supposed to eat. You got to be honest with yourself. You can lie to a lot of people, but you can't lie to yourself because it's going to show. Look, the process is simple. And when you have the blueprint, it's easy, but you still have to do the work. You have to show up. You'll never pass a test that you don't take. So the first step is be honest with yourself and ask yourself, are you doing the work that it takes to get the results that you're looking for? Number 2, you need to evolve, right? You need to evolve, right? You're hitting it, you're doing good, you're getting the results, but you haven't evolved. Like mentally, you're still checked out. I remember I had a client, he was 150 pounds overweight, right? So he was 150 pounds overweight, but he had already dropped 100 and he only had 50 more to go. And he hit what he thought was a plateau. He hit what he thought was a moment of being stuck. And here's what it really was. What it really was is he needed to evolve mentally because he was still stuck at 150 pounds heavier. So mentally, he had it evolved to being 100 pounds less. And in order to take off that last 50 pounds, he had to mentally become a different version of himself. Now, that version he was already physically that version. He just hadn't quite caught up mentally. So it's not enough just for your body to physically evolve and get better, because it will. But you also mentally got to get better, because what it took to lose that first 100 pounds, mentally, it's different for the last 50 pounds. It's a different kind of mental work. It's different mental punishment that he has to go through now when he's in the weight room. Mentally, he has to be much more stronger when it comes to what he puts in his body. The third thing that it could be, your body has evolved, right? So as you change, as you go through the process, your body's going to evolve. And as your body evolves, everything has to evolve with it. And that includes your workouts. Your workouts are going to need to change. If you have to lose 60 pounds, someone that's 60 pounds overweight, they can start doing basic things, walking around the block, maybe a light walk, run, as opposed to if I'm working with someone who wants to get completely shredded and run ultra marathons. It's a completely different work ethic. So as your body's evolving, make sure your workouts are evolving as well. Make sure your workouts are progressing. They're getting harder. You're lifting heavier weights. They're getting more challenging. And part of this is also your diet. I remember one time I had a client and his goal was to lose 85 pounds. And when he first came to me, he had diabetes, he had high blood pressure, he was on all kinds of medication. He couldn't do any exercise. And so exercise, it wasn't even an option. But he had a big time soda addiction. That was his big thing, right? He drank a lot of soda and he ate a lot of chips. So the very first thing we did, the only change we made when I first started working with him, week 1, 2, and 3, all we did was cut out soda. We didn't change anything. We didn't do any workouts. We didn't change any of his other eating. The only thing we did is we took out soda. Just taking out soda, he dropped 12 pounds. Why do I share that story? Because as he started dropping the weight, it was no longer an option just to cut out soda. We had to fine tune his diet as we went on his journey. And that could be what you need to do. You just need to fine tune your diet, or maybe you just need to fine tune your workouts. You need to progress your workouts and your diets so they match everything else. The fourth thing that it could be, you're just not tracking data. or you're not tracking the right data. So when I say tracking data, what do I mean by that? A lot of times, most people only step on a scale. That is the only form of data that they have, but there's actually much more that not only you have access to, everyone does, but it comes in handy because the scale isn't always going to be the one that's going to show where your progress is. So there's really 4 data points that you want to track. So you want to track pictures, you want to track measurements, numbers, and how you feel. So pictures, you want to take different pictures from different angles. That way you have those to compare. As far as measurements, that's going to allow you to see, are you losing inches and different things like that? And are you actually losing inches? Because numbers don't lie. And then when I say numbers, I mean your weight specifically and your body fat. Those are the 2 big numbers I suggest people check. And then also one that's highly neglected is how do you feel? Right? Do you feel better this week than you did last week? Do you feel better this month than you did last month? Do you have more energy? Do you feel more agile? Are you able to move around a little bit more? How you feel is just as important as the number that's on the scale, is just as important as the number of how many inches you lost, is just as important as your before picture. So at this point, I've given you 4 things that it possibly could be. It wasn't a plateau. You weren't stuck. Nothing was wrong with you. And for the majority of my clients, once I go through those 4 things, we usually figure it out. And to be honest with you, it's usually the first one. They're just not doing what they need to do. They're just not doing what they're supposed to do. This is where, habit stacking comes in. This is where the discipline comes in. This is where getting used to new regimens come in, because at first it can be a little bit challenging just because it's new. But typically, it's just the client not doing what they were supposed to do. The 5th thing that it could be, and I always suggest, always leave this for the 5th thing. A lot of times I'll see clients and this is actually the first area that they'll go to, or this is the first area that they'll check. And here's the danger when you do this. You end up getting misdiagnosed, or you get put on or treated for something that you actually don't have. Now, treated could mean medication, or treated could be surgeries. I've had clients put in situations where they ended up getting their thyroid removed and they didn't even have a thyroid issue, turns out. So the 5th thing you want to check is medical issues. Yes, sometimes there's medical issues that get in the way that need to be handled, need to be fixed, and need to be taken care of. Typically, though, it's not this one. Can it be? Yes, it can be. That's why it's on the list. But I definitely encourage you guys to leave this one for last because, again, like I said earlier, you do not want to get misdiagnosed and you do not want to go under the scalpel when you don't need to. Guys, there's no such thing as a plateau. There's no such thing as being stuck. I can promise you this. If you go through those 5 things, hands down, no question, it's one of those 5 reasons that has you feeling like you're stuck, has you feeling like you're in a plateau, or just has you not moving in the right direction. So if you want to get that fixed, go through those 5 things and get it taken care of. But if you've made it this far, obviously you're serious about getting results. Like you're dead serious about getting results. So I actually created a blueprint, a step-by-step program that produces results every single time. And if you've made it this far, I know you're serious, so I want to give it to you for free. So I created a completely free audio ebook. I'll put the link in the bio below. Just click on the link and I'll send you the email. It's got everything in it. Let's go. Crush the day. You got this.